All right, let's take you back to Wits University, where it seems there's been no firm agreement reached at this stage. Yesterday, chaos erupted once again when suspended SRC President Aviwe Mtila attempted to address students. Mtila, who says he wants to be included in meetings between the SRC and Wits management, has been denied access by the university. Our senior reporter Aviwe Mtila is there and joins us. Good morning yet again, Aviwe. What is the very latest at this hour?
Good morning, Fundo. And the university management says it's waiting for the SRC to give it feedback on the way forward. Remember, they met on Wednesday where it was agreed that there would be a 24-hour ceasefire. There were three conditions from the SRC. One was that private security be removed from the premises of the university. Second is as well as the South African Police Service. The third was the lifting of the suspension of 7 students. And that would include the suspended SRC president. And we do know that, in speaking earlier on with the university itself, it said that the third won't be possible because they're facing serious allegations during the protest. Let's catch up now with the SRC to find out what's the way forward. Will their ceasefire continue or what's going to happen? Thank you for joining us, Karabo Asala. What is the latest?
Thank you, everyone. Good morning. So from the 3 demands, priority demands that we now had this week, I think if you take a look around campus, you'll notice that the presence of private security is virtually gone. And we had a commitment from the senior executive team to say that they will not bring the South African Police Service should things remain calm. So with the issue of suspensions, we're currently engaging with our legal team. We're actually having a meeting this morning to discuss that way forward, because the Vice-Chancellor said to us that he will not be in a position to lift those suspensions. So we really want all our SRC members to be on board with the negotiations moving forward.
And then, what's the sentiment like? Will the learning be allowed to continue as we've seen for the last 24 hours and today?
So the learning everything seems to be back in place. I mean, students are attending classes, albeit online or on campus. So as it stands right now, the SRC has not requested for the continuation of the protest.
Okay, then let's chat about the broader issues, because we do understand the protest itself was around 2 main themes. One was the student accommodation, the other is around student debt, and it's the suggestions that the SRC wants that debt to be paid back as far back as 10 years. Wits says it can't afford to lose just R1 billion debt. What would your position be then? Because we understand the negotiations are continuing.
So that is really one of our challenging points of negotiation with the Vice-Chancellor. But we have agreed to continue with a mediation process should we not see eye to eye eventually on these points. But the issue of financial crisis, I think it's a national one. It's not just an institution like Wits who would then find themselves in a position of having to cover student debt. I think it's multi-sectoral as well. We were calling on the Department of Higher Education and Training to come and have conversations with, universities nationally, really. And on the issue of accommodation, it is our position once more to say that we want all private accommodation to maintain that 45,000 rand cap, because it cannot be that students are still expected to pay top-ups when there has been a concession made for the 45,000 rand cap. And even with that, should the cap remain in place, we're calling on the private accommodation to maintain that. If not, then the university on these on-campus residences should maintain their accommodation fees to that 45,000.
I want to go back to the issue of the suspension, especially around the SRC president. He wants to be involved in the meetings that management has with the SRC, while the university has made it clear that he's suspended, he's not allowed to. Your position as the SRC now, are you still continuing with the engagements without him?
We are going to call once more for the inclusion of the SRC members that were suspended. I think in the meeting that was held with the Vice-Chancellor, that really was our point of departure. But we didn't have any further engagements on the initial demands that we had, because we were of the view that the SRC president, together with the other suspended members, should form part and parcel of that meeting. But moving forward, what we can maybe negotiate with management on is to have a meeting with those suspended SRC members, but off campus. Since the university is not allowing them on campus, then perhaps we could be accommodated on an off-campus venue for those meetings to continue.
But he's not allowed to partake in matters that pertain to the school, and the suggestion is that the SRC itself must appoint someone that will overlook those presidential duties of the SRC.
Our position as the SRC is we will continue putting our full weight behind our Apiwe Mtila. We recognize him as president, and that is the only president we'll recognize for this SRC term. With regards to the off-campus venue, that was actually a suggestion of the Vice-Chancellor, or rather the senior executive team. So we're hoping that that door is not yet closed on us.
Okay, and then just finally, you're meeting then with the management, I assume, later on today. What are you looking at?
Should we conclude our meeting with the legal team in time, we will definitely be meeting up with the Vice-Chancellor later on, or rather request to meet up with the Vice-Chancellor. But what I will mention to you is that we are actually going to De Beers Street at 12 p.m. this afternoon, due to the commemoration, really, of the life of Mthokozisi Ntumba, who was shot by the police about 2 years ago. So all students are expected to appear, and certainly the SRC President will be making an appearance there as well.
Okay, thank you very much. We'll be joining the students there. We understand some of the unions as well. SAFTU will be there. Civil society will be there at 12 o'clock to commemorate the life of Mthokozisi Ntumba, shot 2 years ago on this day in Braamfontein. But of course, those conversations are still ongoing, and that bone of contention around the president being allowed in those meetings is something that the university said that it won't allow. In fact, we had that conversation with the communications head of Wits University, Shirona Patel. I want you to take a listen to what she had to say around the 3 demands and which ones have been met and which ones won't be met.
Two of the demands have been met. So firstly, the South African police services were only on campus last Friday. They came in on their own volition. We didn't invite them, and they left on the same day. So I think we've met that first demand. The second was that we remove all private security from campus, and as you can see, we've done that, and all our campuses now don't have private security. Our lectures are continuing both in person and online, as they have been for this week, and you can see a lot more people back on campus as well. On the third one, which is the suspensions, we haven't acceded to that demand. And the reason for that is because the 7 students face some really serious charges. This includes the intimidation of members of the Wits community, the disruption of lectures, the blocking of entrances, and the destruction of property. And these are some very serious charges. For this reason, we will allow the legal process in that regard to take its course.